in, let's do a cosmology segment. As cosmology is one of the most interesting laboratories that there is, what's going on in space? Well, we've got some interesting stories to cover here at the Smash News Network. We're not going to pick a random object today at all. We're going to talk briefly about radio jets. So Cygnus A, this is from Britannica.com, by the way, the Encyclopedia Britannica. And what you're looking at here is a galaxy about 530 million light years away, known as 3C405, or Cygnus A. Why is it called Cygnus A? Because it is the second strongest radio source in the entire sky. Second only to, wait for it, the sun. Yes. So you see these giant radio lobes here. These are quite lengthy, as the galactic core is way over here. And you've got these radio lobes that are at distances of tens of thousands of light years around this galaxy. So Cygnus A is interesting enough that we put it on a t-shirt. You can find links to that at smAsho.com. It's the smAsho store. You can find also clothing that features the concept of condensed matter and so on. But in any case, Cygnus A powerful radio galaxy, and it emits these jets, and these jets come out of the poloidal fields of the galactic core. And without going further into that, let's transition into this article. And this is a phys.org article, and what you're looking at here in the lower right is a 3 different wavelength image. You're looking at infrared light, optical light, and X-rays. And what you're looking at here, this is an artist's rendition here on the left, and turns out that this galactic jet is about 50% longer than the entire diameter of the Milky Way galaxy. So the Milky Way galaxy is like 100,000 light years in diameter, and this jet is about 150,000 light years in length. It is an X-ray jet. Perhaps you'd like to read this article. It's on phys.org in the Astronomy and Space section. A gigantic jet spied from the massive radio source. And yesterday we talked about a massive radio source at the core of a galaxy that's estimated to be 300 million solar masses. This one is estimated to be about 3 times that, about 1 billion solar masses. And this particular galaxy is about 12.7 billion light years away from Earth. And without getting into arguments about things like redshift calculation and so on, the magnetic fields and the torus around these objects seem to have some sort of a relationship. And I don't want to get too in-depth into it because this is indeed in the cosmology segment. It's PJ 352-15. So again, that X-ray jet over 150,000 light years in length. The Milky Way is only about 100,000 light years. So that jet, about 50% longer than the Milky Way galaxy, is wide. So perhaps have a read about that if you like. Again, that's galaxy PJ 352-15, another massive radio galaxy with extremely lengthy poloidal jets that come out of the poloidal fields of the galactic cores. And let's continue with cosmology here to talk about condensed matter. Now, you may or may not know about the liquid metallic hydrogen theory of the sun. It's kind of important in that the sun appears to not be made of a diffuse gaseous plasma. And the originator of this theory is this gentleman here, Pierre-Marie Robitaille. And I'm going to play you a small clip from the video. This one is entitled, "The Sun is Not a Gaseous Plasma, the Liquid Metallic Hydrogen Solar Model." And by the way, liquid metallic hydrogen is what we call a single segment plasma, in that the nucleons are constrained into a lattice structure. As you see up here, the nucleons are constrained to this lattice structure. However, the electrons are free to flow around, and it behaves like a metal. So it's a liquid metal, and we have created liquid metallic hydrogen on Earth. More about superionized materials in a moment.
Objects simply do not radiate internally, but use conduction and convection to achieve this end.
He's talking about the radiative or alleged radiative layer inside the sun. And when you have objects right against each other, you've got convection or conduction happening, not radiation. But in any case, there's a link also on that video. Again, it's entitled, "The Sun is Not a Gaseous Plasma, the LMH Liquid Metallic Hydrogen Solar Model." There's a link below that also to the paper, 40 lines of evidence for condensed matter, the Sun on Trial, liquid metallic hydrogen as a solar building block, the most plausible explanation for what the sun and probably indeed all stars are made from. So it may sound like a crazy and insane idea, but the more you look at it, the more plausible it is. And shout out to Eugene Bagashov, who tends to agree with what I've just said. Perhaps we'll get him on the show soon. So let's continue talking about condensed matter. Turns out that when you put water under hundreds of thousands of atmospheres of pressure, water turns into a lattice structure as well. What happens to water? Well, what happens to water is it turns into a superionized state. The oxygen forms into a lattice structure, and the hydrogen becomes liquid metallic hydrogen, which flows around like a metal. Why are we talking about it? Well, because the structure of the internals of the Earth count as cosmology. As if the Earth is not made at all from what the mainstream believes the Earth is made of, it causes all of the physical sciences to be written, at least rewritten, that is, at least things like geology, as geologic models of what the Earth is made of and how the Earth system works are all based on gravitational accretion models. And without getting all in depth into how solar systems form, what if Earth's magnetic field and also other properties that we see inside the planet are because there's superionized material down there? So it turns out when you get to about 1700 degrees Celsius and 800,000 times the normal atmospheric pressure, you may have things that are nothing like what is expected in the core of the planet. Do you believe that the Earth's core is made of iron? Or is it made of perhaps something else? Do we have everything backwards in terms of the way things form? Do the heavy elements simply form on the surface of stars? Or do we require supernovae in order to create Generation 2 solar systems? And are Earth's magnetic fields generated by superionic materials inside? Now, this does explain lots of things. And a condensed matter star does explain things like the solid body rotation of the sun, as the theory for what is inside of the liquid metallic hydrogen layers of the sun would be solid metallic hydrogen layers. Now, that's never been created in a laboratory, but the phase diagram of hydrogen does include solid metallic hydrogen. And I don't want to go any more in depth into that. We don't want the daily space weather video to be too long. This is another phys.org article featured here on the Smash News Network, Least Busted Name It News, in the Earth section. Go have a read. Earth's deep mantle may have proton rivers made of superionic phases. And again, when you have superionic water, what happens is, number one, the oxygen forms into this nucleonic lattice structure, as you see here. And the liquid metallic hydrogen just flows around inside of that super high pressure area. And also, when an electric field is applied, positive hydrogen ions migrate toward the anode and away from the cathode. So, yeah, that might be a little bit groundbreaking there. And let's continue on with the cosmology segment with a report on cosmic rays. So we've got some cosmic ray monitors to show you here. Here's the Apatity neutron monitor, which has leveled off, although we see a significant uptick here at Apatity over the past 30 days. There's the chart of that. The Barentsburg neutron monitor does not agree. It's flat over the past 30 days. Let's go farther south to Athens, Greece. Here's the Athens neutron monitor. And it's a pretty flat graph there at Athens over the past 30 days as well. How about even farther south to Mexico City? And there's the Mexico City Cosmic Ray Observatory. This one is a 30-day chart as well. You can see it's quite flat over the past 30 days. Let's go back north to Oulu, Finland. And there's Oulu. Small uptick there at Oulu over the past 30 days. And let's go as far south as you can get, Antarctica. Here's DOMB. Small upward trend over the past 30 days at DOMB Antarctica. And here's DOMC Antarctica. Pretty flat over the past 30 days there. And that's today's cosmology segment. We don't want it to be too long as it is butted in to the daily space weather video.